What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back to the channel. Yo, thank you so much for the likes, subscribes, everything else. But as we know, REI Reply has texting, right? We have the RVMs. We can do the cold calls, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Cold calls cuts through the noise faster than anything else, right? Text messages is for speed. RVMs are for convenience, but the cold calls really get down to what's going on and finds out the pains that's going on when people are considering selling their house, right? So I have 3 questions that I always ask on every phone call, right? And then I have a bonus question that always comes from the seller and that always trips investors up, right? So I have an easy answer for that. So stick around to the end, right? So I'm going to go through all of the questions, right? And question number 1 actually came to, I learned it from a British guy. I read a sales book a number of years back, and he had this question, and it was pretty golden for me, right? And this question is going to come up on your creative and also on your cash offers, right? And the question is simple. Here it is. It's, what makes you say that? Very simple, right? Because here's what's going to happen. You and the potential home seller, you guys are going to not come to an agreement. You guys are going to have some type of disagreement, some type of confusion going on, right? So they might say that you might make them an offer, and they might say that that offer is too low. Well, then you ask, what makes you say that? And then guess what happens? They have to tell you what makes them say that, right? Very simple, right? So they might tell you that the neighbor down the street sold for more, or that their realtor told them they could get more money. And at that point, you can address that concern specifically instead of kind of dancing around and trying to figure out what they're talking about when they disagree with it, right? So that's the first question. It's super simple, but it opens the door and allows them to come in and give you some more information. Okay?
Hi. Okay.
So I got my notes over here, right? So my second question that I always ask is one of compliance. So before I move forward on a cash or creative deal, right, after I tell them the benefits or what I'm willing to offer, I always ask, does that make sense?
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, here's why. Because I'm looking for them to agree with me before I move to the next point. It's a wide open question that allows them to step in if they don't feel like they fully understand something, right? Instead of just going forward. My mentor says that a confused mind always says no, okay? So if you present something to somebody and they don't fully understand it, it's way easier for them to start saying no than it is for them to agree or ask like more clarity. That's just human nature. They don't like to be confused, and so they would just want to move past it, okay?
Okay.
So most of the time that's going to come up, and you're going to ask their compliance before moving forward, and in that way you can handle each step of the presentation at a time and get those little yeses in between there. If you can get 3 yeses, the likelihood of you getting a 4th yes is higher. But if you get a bunch of no's, you know how that goes, okay? Now I'm going to go for my third question, right? So when you start the call, you ask them, is this the owner, the property address, and then you confirm the condition of the property, right? Now, when you confirm the condition of the property, here's what's going to happen. The property is great. It's an awesome property. You only need $17 to fix the place up and make it HGTV ready. The neighbor down the street sold for $300,000 and it's just like theirs, right? No problem. We all hear that, right? So here's the third question. And I got this question from the godfather of real estate investing all over, right? It's Ron LeGrand. And that question is, well, why would you sell a nice place like this? Now, you know what they're going to have to do? Just like that first question, they're going to have to tell you why they want to sell a nice place like this. It's awesome. It's great. The roof is new. They know they can get, $300,000 for the property. They know what they have. Their neighbors. Now, you know what they're going to have to do? Just like that first question, they're going to have to tell you why they want to sell a nice place like this. It's awesome. It's great. The roof is new. They know they can get, $300,000 for the property. They know what they have. Their neighbors. You always ask the condition. You always ask the motivation. We always ask the timeline, right? When they want to get this done, and we ask the price. The motivation is very important because if you got that, now you know a little bit more of the situation. And usually when you ask that question, that super nice house, suddenly those problems will become apparent, right? They'll say, oh, well, okay, to be honest, right, my roof is bad. Or to be honest, I had a couple break-ins over there. Or to be, that kind of thing. So you always want to ask that question because that gets right to it, okay? So, as I promised you, the fourth is a question that comes from the seller, and man, this one kills so many investors, right? So that question, you pick up the phone, you confirm who it is, you ask about the address, and then they say, well, what's your offer? Oh man, I've seen so many people stumble and just get confused because they don't have anything at that moment and they feel like they should. Relax. You shouldn't, right? What we're going to do with that question is we're going to be upfront and honest with these people, right? Because if you provide them with a reason, that will help you get a little further in the game, right? So let me sidetrack. Back in the 70s, there was an experiment where people went to the grocery store and they asked people a simple question if they could get in front of them in the line. Now, everybody's busy. Everybody doesn't want to give up their spot in line, but they sent people in and just said, hey, could I get in front of you? And 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, they were denied, okay? Now, those same people went into the grocery store and they asked people if they could get in front of them. They added in one magical word, which was because, right? And then they added in a reason on top of that. As long as you provide a reason, it doesn't even have to be a good reason. Most of those people were able to get in front of those other people in line, okay? So it went like this. Hey, do you mind if I get in front of you because I'm late for work, right? Who isn't? Right? Or can I get in front of you because my kids are in the car, or I have somewhere to be, something like that. 9 times out of 10, those people were allowed to get in front of those people. So we're going to do the same thing with what's your offer. We're going to be upfront and honest with these people and let them know that, hey, I make a lot of phone calls every day to potential home sellers. I don't sit back and do the offers for every single one of them. Do you know why? Because when I call, I ask if they're interested in selling, and most of the time the answer is no.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So then I just took a lot of time figuring out a good offer for this property that's not even available. And then you go back to that first question, does that make sense? Right? Now, That has to make sense because you're not going to sit back and evaluate every single property that you are calling about before you even know if they're interested in selling. That's just common sense. So once you explain that to people and let them know because X, Y, and Z, now either they're going to understand it like a normal human being, or they're going to try their damnedest to not understand it, in which those people you don't want to deal with because they're going to be a headache, right? So sometimes you can do, but you're not in the arm twisting business, right? You're looking for motivated sellers who want to sell their property. So use those 3 questions and that objection handling it's not even an objection, right? They say, what's your offer? You're just handling that information, right? But use those 3 questions, that 1 response, and then get that on every phone call. Guys, go out there, have success, make those phone calls. You're not what you think, you are what you do. So pick up that phone, take action, right? Please, if you got anything from this video, you know what I'm going to say. Go down below, hit the like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Hit the bell, right? And let me know if there's anything else that I can cover in these videos because I do this for you guys, okay? Now, I'm also looking for anyone who needs some assistance with getting their first deal, right? I do this for real. So if anything comes up, if you got a question, hit my line. You got my Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.